seated forward fold, Paschimottanasana. So for this pose, we're seated on the ground. It's really important that your sits bones are anchored into the floor so you can actually reach back and just move the skin out of the way. And most of us will probably want to sit up on the edge of a blanket. You can fold it as high as you'd like. And the reason we do this is that it's a little bit, we create a little bit of height, which relieves some tension in the low back. So especially if you have a tendency to round or collapse in the low back, you'll want to have a blanket up underneath your seat. It's also important to have the backs of the knees soft, a little bit of an exaggerated bend. You could also take another blanket and roll it up under your knees, especially if you have some hamstring issues. That would be a really good thing to do. So starting as with any of the other forward folds with the feet apart hip distance, it can always be a little bit wider. The wider apart your feet are, the more space you'll have to come forward. So just for now, we'll begin with feet hip distance apart. So then inhale and sweep the arms up, really lifting out of the low back. Feel that you hinge forward on the fronts of the thighs. Exhale, and as you extend, think about laying the belly onto the thighs. And whatever point you stop, you can bring the hands down and rest here. A lot of times we'll tend to round and collapse in the low back, overarching through the spine. So that's where it's really good to bend the knees, and that way the heart can come forward, the shoulders roll back, so there's all of that space in the spine. Again, the hands can rest here. There's lots of variations. I'm taking hands to feet. Some people like to interlace the hands, grab hold of the big toes. Really anything that would feel good to you here you can do. And as you have more length in the low back and the hamstrings start to lengthen, eventually the belly will stay on the thighs and the knees will start to slowly extend, but there's always a little bit of a micro bend just so that you're not locking the knees back or straining in any way. And this is a really wonderful pose to take when you're feeling maybe anxious, a little bit stressed. It relieves fatigue. It's also a really good pose to do at the end of the day. It draws all of your attention back into the body, stretches the low back, opens and lengthens through the backs of the legs, and also into the calves, the ankles, the feet. Really, the whole leg is affected here. And the shoulders relax back. It obviously stimulates, again, these lower abdominal organs. And it's also helpful if you have high blood pressure, if you have headaches, improves digestion, anything along those lines. Some contraindications would be if you have asthma or if you have a back injury, in which case you really can just stay up here, just still initiating the bend, but without coming forward.